So I want to welcome everyone to episode 8 of Trust After Trauma podcast. And this has been such a delicious journey of really opening up our hearts, opening up our minds, and opening up our ability to see life from many different perspectives and acknowledge that we do have the power within ourselves to be able to trust after any form of trauma that we might have experienced. And as long as we're in the human condition, we will all be experiencing some form of trauma. I'm Janet Grace, and I'm here as your guest interviewer. And I am a spiritual life coach and the founder of Grace's Place Foundation. And along with We the World, we are here to bring these inspiring interviews to really help any of us navigating through a traumatic experience, something that has just taken us off kilter and really changed our lives. And as we open our hearts to really listen for how can we trust after trauma, there are tools that each one of our guest experts will be sharing with us. And today we have a very special guest expert. Her name is Lauri Strain, and I'm going to read a little bit about her journey and her bio. Lauri Strain is the founder of Hope With I.A.N, Inner Awareness Now. It's a nonprofit dedicated to supporting individuals and families facing mental health challenges. After losing her son Ian to suicide at the age of 21, and also losing her father to suicide when she was only 19, Lauri stepped away from her 20-year career as one of San Luis Obispo County's top real estate agents to honor Ian's legacy through education, advocacy, and community healing. She's a certified suicide prevention specialist and co-leads mental health programs throughout the region, offering hope and support to those affected by mental illness and loss. We're so grateful to have you with us here today. And today's podcast title is called Healing and Finding Hope, a Mother's Journey After Losing a Child to Suicide. So I just want to welcome you with all my love and all my heart. You've been such a dear friend, and I've been on this journey with you. And I would just love for you to share your journey of really navigating through this experience that has changed your life forever.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. And so our journey has been pretty much the last 2 years. We lost Ian on July 22nd of 2023. And I can't really say lost because I know he's right here, but he transitioned on that day. So we've had a 2-year journey, and it all started actually back in January of 2020 when Ian had his very first manic episode. And it was quite scary. We were feeling very alone in our journey. There was no real guidance or direction or support. We had no idea what was even going on at that time. We just knew that Ian was definitely not himself, and he was having this manic episode, and trying to get the help was difficult. So during that journey, we ended up getting him some help, and he was had to stay in a residential treatment center. And later it comes to find out that he had a cannabis-induced psychosis. Ian wasn't an addict or anything like that. I think he was just a normal teen that was dabbling and experimenting and smoking marijuana. And after his senior year of football, and it's so strong these days that it really did have a huge effect on him and caused this manic episode to occur. He did eventually heal completely from that, which was a blessing, and continued to go on forward with his life. And went to Sonoma State University. And from there, he studied abroad in Jaén, Spain. And he was there for 3 months. We were so proud of him, just really following his dreams and pursuing his passions and studying Spanish. And while he was in Spain, unfortunately, he had another manic episode. And so Jim and I, Ian's father and I, had to fly to Spain and pick him up. And it was shortly after that that he was diagnosed with having bipolar 1. So, so that was probably about another year and a half experience before he ended up losing his battle to mental health. So it was a very, very difficult time. And living here in San Luis Obispo, come to find out after the fact that our suicide rate here is extremely high. It's approximately 54% higher than the average for the state of California. So that was pretty disturbing for me as his mother, and understanding why that would be, just because of the lack of help and support and guidance that we as Ian's parents and Ian himself were lacking during that time and that experience.
Yeah, and I know being on this journey has just, opened your eyes to the lack of support that's here for other families who might be navigating and having a child with mental health issues and not having resources that are available to them. Whether they're in the San Luis Obispo area, because I know some of the research that you've been doing, even though that's your geographic location where you live, I know that that's a huge issue nationwide. And so I know that, if you could share with us a little bit about the Hope with I.A.N and the resources that Hope with I.A.N is offering to anyone, because, again, there's so many things that can be done in person, but we also know that there's some things that are out there that other parents need to know about before it gets to that point of suicide. That our mental health is what's, the issue at hand.
Yes, definitely. A lot of things that we found out after the fact, right? That we were not made aware of. So, so from the time that that Ian transitioned, it was very, gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? On a soul level, uh, I just felt that Ian was with us very, very deeply,
Mhm.
which is how I was able to get up every day and to just keep moving forward. Which for the first 6 or 7 months, there wasn't a lot of doing. It was a lot of being. I did a lot of just sitting outside and just looking at the birds and the trees and just enjoying the moment, because that was what Ian practiced and he taught us mostly, was to really be present. He meditated every day. He wrote positive affirmations. He worked out. He just lived a very healthy life, and really taught us a lot about life that we had no idea about. And one of them was meditating and just being present and connecting heart to heart. So after he left that day, he transitioned. He actually came to me in spirit form and said that he was right there. Of course, I was crying and just completely out of it. And he came to me and he said, "Mom, listen, I'm right here, and I promise I'm going to hold you up through all of this. I'm going to hold all of you up through all of this." And it just brought so much peace and joy into my heart that I was able to get up out of his bed where I was crying and go and console my daughter and be with my husband. And so I always had that feeling from him and that support and guidance. And I truly believe that Ian is the heartbeat behind Hope with I.A.N. he is the one that guided our way, and he knows that there's help for so many people that he didn't get. So I feel that that is what, Ian lived to 21 years, and he came here for a purpose, and that purpose is to open the eyes of this mental health industry that is failing, that needs so much attention, and that's what our mission is with Hope With I.A.N, is to bring the awareness out there to others so that they know that there's help, that's not just about medications and trying out all the different medications, because that's what they did for Ian. It's like, well, this one's not working, let's try this one. Oh, that's not working, let's go to this medication. There was never any talk about some of the natural ways, that people can heal also, and that would be with connecting body, mind, and spirit.
And I know that you are a huge advocate and now co-teaching a program that really comes from a holistic position. Can you share a little bit about the Nedley program that you're
Yeah.
now offering through Hope With I.A.N?
Yes. So the ultimate goal through Hope With Ian is to bring a residential treatment center to our community. Through Dr. Nedley in the Nedley Health Program, they have a 10-day residential treatment up in Weimar, California, and they also offer an 8-week community program. The 8-week community program, it's an education program for anxiety and depression. And Jim and I recently have been certified to hold a course in our community, or hold courses. We plan on holding many to help our community here. And they offer, so the 10-day residential treatment, they offer a lot of different science-backed treatments for anxiety and depression in all different levels. And one of them is hydrotherapy. And it's something that's been around for over a century and a half, but you just don't hear about these things, and that has been known to help depression, severe depression, pretty quickly. It actually has been able to help in just a matter of 10 days. And simple things like meditations, heart-centered breathing, forest bathing, all of these natural ways that God has provided for us, and that you just don't hear about when you're actually in the mental health system, where it's more of a cold and clinical space. This is a more love-filled, compassion, and using techniques that really do help on a natural level.
Yeah. Well, and just sharing what you're sharing right now, it provides trust to any parents or families that might be navigating through any kind of a mental health um, situation right now, to trust that there are resources out there that are not just the traditional that you were shown, that did not prevent suicide for your son Ian. And so just trusting that there's other resources out there. And also I know that you've recently become certified in suicide prevention. And can you talk about, the benefits of not only you being certified now with that, but also Hope With I.A.N offering the potential and the possibility for others to get certified in suicide prevention?
Yes, I think suicide prevention is very, very important. And had I known about this kind of a certification, and had I known about Ian's diagnosis, that it was pretty high rate of suicide, to have that, I wasn't aware. Nobody had ever shared that with me. However, I would have taken that course, and um, there's so many different signs that you may not realize are a sign of that person thinking about suicide. And they teach you that in this course. And they also teach you that when you have any kind of an invitation from somebody that may be considering suicide, the invitation comes in, but most people will not know what to do. They don't know what to say, so they don't do anything at all. And so with this course, they actually help you to directly, with love and compassion to this person, is ask them straight up, are you thinking about suicide? because that's the question that is not asked. And so, we're losing so many people due to the fact that the support's not there for them. That love and that compassion is not there. So I think it would be just so beneficial to have as many people as possible certified in this. And I just imagine of all the lives that would be saved just from having that certification. So that is one of our paths that we're going down with Hope with I.A.N is also to offer these courses and get as many of our community citizens here certified in that course.
Yeah,
Would
I
be
love that. And I know how passionate you are about it, and I know what a heart-centered, amazing woman you are. And you know, being able to really listen, and some of the resources that you learn through the suicide prevention program really is about connecting heart to heart with another person that
Mm,
would be in so much pain that they might not feel as if anyone's listening, or that there's really hope that what they're going through could actually have some form of solution. And so I love that you're offering that, and we'll definitely have resources at the bottom of this podcast for anyone who needs additional support or information through. We'll definitely be putting in Hope with I.A.N, your website, and the resources that are on that. And I also want to just circle back to, if someone, a parent and a family, has lost a member of the family to suicide, what would be some of the resources that you could share with them after that experience has, affected your life forever? What are some of the resources that you would want to share with other mothers, other fathers, other family members, siblings that have lost a family member to suicide?
well, the one that comes to me at the top of mind is it's a resource that we all have within ourselves, and that resource is to honor our feelings, to honor our loved one that we lost, and to keep that memory up front. A lot of people that have this kind of loss can't even look at photos. They don't want to be reminded of this, and that is something that I did not do. I constantly would be looking at Ian's photos and remembering and journaling, which in fact I've been journaling to Ian. This is a huge resource actually that helped me tremendously. As I started journaling to him and writing him letters every day and letting him know exactly how I was feeling. Because when you're going through this kind of trauma, it's hard to describe. If somebody were to ask you, how are you feeling? It's like, I don't even know how to describe that. So I learned how to do that by journaling, because I felt safe that I could write these deep, very, very traumatic and just such pain, and just describe that feeling that was in my body. And I think by doing that, I was able to release some of that energy of grief. And shortly after I started doing this, Ian started wanting to write back to me. So we have been journaling to each other now for about 2 years. And it has been just such a wonderful thing for me, and just trusting that for me, that I knew that Ian was here like he had promised. He was holding us up, and just feeling God's presence, praying. And I know there's a lot of resources out there. I also got involved with a nonprofit here in our community called Knowing You Matter. And this is a local mother here who lost her son to suicide about 4 years ago. And so she's offering support groups and really helping us understand what is going on in our bodies after this kind of trauma, like physically. If we were to have a brain scan, it would show that we have a concussion in our brain. So that was really helpful for me to understand where all these feelings and this my memory, like my memory was, not the same as it was, and just having panic attacks and anxiety. And when you know that kind of thing that's going on inside of your brain, that physical aspect of it, it really does help to understand why you're feeling this way. So that was a really good resource for me as well. And a lot of spiritual healers, breath work, meditations, just really learning about embodiment, and just paying attention to what you're feeling in your body and
Mhm.
honoring that, and then just breathing, and that breath work just does help release a lot of the that pain as well.
Yeah, I love that. And everything that you're describing is within reach, and a lot of it is right within you. And so as we learn more about how we can care for ourselves through any form of trauma, not only does it help us to go through the healing process moment by moment, because you can't say, oh, one day you're here and the next day you're healed. It's a continuous. So is there any other thing that you might want to share, as your parting words, of how you have even navigated through grief? Because we also, you and I have talked about, the grieving process. It's not linear, it's moment by moment. And is there any words of love and advice that you might want to share as your parting words, on this podcast of, again, trust after trauma?
Yes. When I lost my father at 19,
Hmm.
I didn't really even know what depression was back then, let alone much about suicide. And it was very, gosh, what's the words? It was just very hard to talk about.
Hmm.
So we didn't talk about it. We let that go. Our whole family. In fact, we never really even talked about my dad much after that. And so when this happened with our son, I was adamant that this wasn't going to be the case for Ian. We were going to talk about him. We were going to keep his memory alive, his legacy, and it gets softer. The grief, it's still there. I know it's always going to be there, and I'm okay with that. But I have learned that if I let go of the grief, I'm not letting go of my child. And I think that was such a huge thing that I had learned early on, that a friend had shared with me, that it's okay to let go of that grief, because Ian will always be here. And I feel that if I have a more love filled heart and feel that love, then I'm going to feel him even more. So,
Yeah.
but when those waves of grief come in, I say, let it, bring it on. And I take the time, and I cry, and I remember, and I know that it's okay. I know
Yeah.
that, because Ian is still here with me, even more so than he ever was.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom, because, the honoring yourself, honoring him, honoring your emotions, honoring the process and the experience, all of that is such words of wisdom that I know is touching many lives and many hearts that are listening to this podcast today. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing yourself and your wisdom and your beautiful heart. And I know that Ian is right here front and center, and we will be sharing more about Hope with Ian in the notes of the podcast, and just letting others know that there is help out there and there is hope. And thank you so much from my heart to yours. Have a
Thank you.
beautiful and blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah,
If anybody, would like to reach out to me, feel free. My email will be, I'm sure, on this podcast, and I'm here to help as much as I can.
yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
Love you,
Janet.
love you. Thank
Appreciate
you so
you.
much.
Mwah. Love you.
Bye, love.
Bye.